Alright guys, welcome back to Formula 1 news. Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen certainly had their fair share of drama throughout the 2021 season, but this time around it's been a lot more cordial so far. Hamilton was giving a lot of credit to Max and his entire team and Adrian Newey for delivering the car and the results that they have done, and a reporter was trying to get some things spicy out of Max by suggesting that Hamilton was kind of insinuating that all of Max's success this year was down to the car. Verstappen gives a lot of praise to Hamilton and says the exceptional drivers like Hamilton and himself are the ones that make the difference in the key races. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always. Couple of quick updates to bring you guys this morning. This weekend upcoming at the Italian Grand Prix in Monza, Nick de Vries will drive for his third different car this season for now Aston Martin in place of Sebastian Vettel. So pretty interesting stuff. He already drove for Williams earlier this year. Maybe it was at Barcelona or something. And then in France, he drove Lewis Hamilton's car in, of course, well, Paul Ricard. So he's now going to drive another car. So we don't really know. I guess Mercedes are trying to get Nick a seat somewhere. The only probably available seat for him might be the Williams seat of Nicholas Latifi, because everything else seems to be kind of locked in, especially because we're also getting news that Antonio Giovinazzi will drive the FP1 session in Monza instead of Mick Schumacher. So Mick Schumacher, I think they would be silly not to keep Schumacher on personally. But apparently Haas are considering Giovinazzi's services instead of keeping Mick next year, despite the fact that he's actually performed rather well lately in a car that's regressed somewhat to the rest of the field. Now, look, Giovinazzi, a proven driver, he's going to do the FP1 session here. Does that mean they're going to go with Giovinazzi next year, or are they just making it very clear they're piling the pressure on Mick Schumacher? But even last weekend in Zandvoort, he qualified P8, right, and did a pretty decent job, all things considered, given the fact that Haas just haven't had any pace in quite some time on most of the circuits, at least. Let's talk Mercedes then, of course. There was all the drama going on during the race itself. Hamilton, Russell, Verstappen, of course, in the mix at the end of the race. What they should have done with the safety car, what they didn't do. Verstappen gets past Hamilton and newer soft tyres, kind of reminiscent of before, and Hamilton's like, look, I was frustrated at the time, I was kind of overcome with emotion or whatever, thinking the win could have been there, and then it slipped away yet again, but saying, look, he backs the team 100% and the strategist, all that type of good stuff. So still doubling down on the fact that he's confident their team can still deliver the goods when push comes to shove. But this was the statement that Hamilton made before the weekend began, saying, look, they've done a great job, because of course this was after Spa, where Verstappen and the Red Bulls had a dominant 1-2 victory, saying that plenty of credit is deserving for Max and his performance, what he's able to extract, but largely it's because that team has done a great job. The designers, Adrian Newey, like their strategists, they're of course, pit crew as well, like Red Bull are pretty much flawless across the board right now, and that of course is helping them win. So Hamilton gave a lot of credit to their car, because of course Hamilton well knows what a good car underneath you can do, and what can create a dominant season as Verstappen is presently having. Now certain members of the media were looking at this thinking, oh wow, yeah, Hamilton basically just said that Verstappen's only good because of his car. So then that was kind of the question that was posed to Verstappen, and I thought a very mature and impressive response actually from Verstappen here, just showing the respect that he has for Lewis. And often this kind of rivalry gets blown out of proportion to some degree because of the fans just going rogue on Twitter and stuff, which, it's understandable to a certain extent. People are going to support their favourite driver. It is what it is. But even after last year's Abu Dhabi shenanigans, right, Hamilton wasn't angry at Max. He was just angry at the decisions that were made from the stewarding department, right? I think he's made it very clear that, look, it wasn't Max's fault what happened. He just took advantage of the situation that was presented to him. And yes, I'm sure to some degree they would still talk and think about some of the incidents they had last season, whose fault they might have been for various ones. But still, there was some respect between these guys, and understandably so, of course. He was actually asked. Lewis suggests that your dominance this year is credited to Adrian Newey and to Red Bull, which of course is true to some degree, but obviously, he's pretty good at driving the damn car. Do you think that is valid? And also, do you think anybody else in your car, any other driver, could have been as dominant as you are? So interesting question. I know that some have also suggested, could Verstappen have won this championship in another car? Like, if Verstappen was in the Ferrari, would he have won the championship? Like, it's difficult to say. I would argue, if let's say it was Verstappen and Leclerc swapped and Leclerc was in the Red Bull, I would say that Leclerc would probably win this championship, unless, of course, Verstappen was in the Ferrari, but with the Red Bull crew. If the Red Bull crew and strategy crew, then I think Verstappen wins this championship in the Ferrari, but with the Ferrari team, probably still doesn't happen. But obviously, Verstappen has made a big difference to their success, and as he goes on to say, there's a lot of that's down to the team, of course, and also how Lewis won his championships. Of course, the car's got to be good for you to be in with a fighting chance. That's how it goes in Formula 1. Your car is super important, but I think when you're an exceptional driver, like of course Lewis is as well, you make a difference over your teammate at the time, because in very crucial races as well. So interesting statement really here, making it very clear that, I'm an exceptional driver, Lewis is an exceptional driver, and, we are just better than our teammates effectively, which is, he's not wrong to say, right? Just kind of blunt, but it is what it is. For example, for me, and this I thought was really classy for Max actually, kind of where he talks about the one specific example of where Lewis made a difference. This, of course, was Turkey 2020, where he wrapped up his 7th World Championship title. And as he says, for example, for me, I think the one that stood out as well for him was Turkey, when it was very slippery conditions, just staying calm, not making mistakes. You end up winning a race like that, and that's what, at the end of the day, what good drivers do. So thought it was interesting that he came up with a specific example to say, yeah, that's because everyone was struggling that weekend, right? Like Verstappen had, I think, a couple of spins, or at least one spin that race. I think Lewis maybe went off track one time, but, you know, still, it was a very slippery conditions there. And Hamilton that day proved to be the class of the field, was, you know, I think he won the race at 25 or so seconds ahead of everyone else that weekend, and then, of course, secured the World Championship that year. So, as he says, they do make a difference compared to other fast drivers, but not as good. So, yeah, the car's very dominant in Formula 1, but, of course, between teammates, only one can win, and that's where you have to make the difference. I thought it was a nice response here, really giving a lot of credit to Hamilton, and also saying, look, I'm a pretty damn good driver as well, as, of course, he is perfectly entitled to believe, with the dominant lead in the championship standings that both Verstappen and Red Bull presently have. Could things change by the end of the year? Who knows? But it is interesting, really, to see that on some circuits, the likes of Hungary and also Zandvoort lately, Mercedes do seem to be at a point where they are more competitive than Ferrari, at least in terms of race pace. Might be a different story this weekend in Monza, but after that, in circuits like Singapore, Suzuka, you might well imagine, if Perez is still significantly off the pace of Verstappen, that Verstappen and the Red Bull are really the only challengers to Mercedes getting their race win this year. But it's not really going to matter for Red Bull, because I'm pretty sure Verstappen can place 5th at like every race from now to the end of the year and still win, even if Leclerc wins everything. So definitely intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.